Flip the switch.
Hey, this ain't a drill. Only time I'm playing is on the field. And when I'm on the field, no, I got mad skills. And you know we about to eat this a fast meal. Y'all gotta pay for this heat like a gas bill. We keep on coming back, so yeah, they mad still. Everyone sick, make them pay me some bad bills. Red, white, and blue like Superman, so you know we eating at the Super Bowl. Kill the competition, set up the funeral. Josh Allen catching all the shots you go for. We callin' blitz. Ready to start, we ain't calling no quits. I'm the #1 draft pick. A lot of y'all talk, but I ain't hearing it. Only listen to Keyshawn and niggas talk about the Bills dominating on the field. All our players got them skills. Buffalo don't make a kill when we talk about the Bills dominating on the field, and our players got them skills. Buffalo won't make a kill.
What's going on? Welcome back to another live episode of the Post Podium Podcast on a Friday. What up, everybody? Look, we
Jeez.
we got something key burning on today. We got a lot of news to get to, a lot of good stuff,
and so more importantly, we got what you want to talk about. What you want to talk about?
That the camera?
You at home?
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. Let's get this chat going. Boom. Okay. All right. So we are ready to get this thing cracking. Did I go through the no, I did not. Home of the all truth, no sodium takes. I'm your co-host Aramis.
40 Keys.
And this is Ayo. Oh, thank you.
The Ayo producer.
Ayo producer in the building.
We gotta get better on that camera roll there.
I do.
He's all dang. I ain't got my cell phone there.
And this is a blank screen.
Hey, I can tell you, Doug. What up with you? And S1 Nico. I don't even know what this debate is. I don't know what that's about either. So I'm with you. We gonna find out together.
All right. So we. I thought this was hilarious when I heard about it. June called me earlier today. And June, is it okay if I tell it?
Yeah, I do.
All right. So June had an experience today, and I thought you might enjoy this one, Key. Go ahead, June.
So basically, me, Pops, and Keyshawn, we played Division on Saturdays, and I was so excited because I got 2 exotics on the same mission, and right after today, I tried to use it. Guess what it said, Key?
Wait, this is going to be good. What it say?
Bruh, it says, April Fools, better luck next time. I instantly threw my headset to the ground and I crashed out. I was like, yeah, turn this game off immediately, bro. I'm like, bro, at this point, you got to be messing with me. I literally said on April 1st, no April Fools, and look what it did to me.
They got you. The one thing you trusted took over.
The game is getting banned, bro. It's getting banned.
I guess I know what I'm not doing tomorrow.
No, they're probably not doing it no more. But I could.
If the game's getting banned, we can't play because he banned it.
I'm gonna ban it in a minute, bro. Because you can't give me 2 special guns and I can't use them.
You don't make the rules in my house.
Evidently.
I know that much.
So let's address this. Let's see. What up, Tom? S1 Nico, you know what? The show hasn't started for like 3 weeks now, then, because we haven't had a technical malfunction in a couple shows. True. Now you just screwed it, but whatever. Mafia Sports Report. See, I'm giving you guys I'm giving the guys what they want because I got to go to work at 8 now, and I said, you know what? Friday we're gonna do this thing anyway. So you're gonna see the last. When's the last time you said we got to get Key out of here before he gets a pink slip and gets a lot of free time?
It's been a minute.
So today's gonna be that day.
I love it. Tommy says, "Damn, you guys started early." So Nico, no clickbait. I promise you. So what it is I have a move that it looks like the Bills are trying to make that could be a game changer for the team. Just in general. We'll get to that in a few.
And for the exporting movement.
The what?
Exported movement.
The exported movement?
Yes.
What? Explain yourself.
I'll tell you when we get to it. It'll make sense.
Okay.
Because I know what this move is, I think. So we'll just go with that.
Oh, did I tell you about it?
No, you didn't.
Okay.
I'm just reading the context clues.
Context clues.
Because at first I saw like, what the hell is that? But I was like, wait a minute. Okay.
Yeah, you might. Yeah. If you've really been paying attention to what's been happening on the news and on Twitter and all that kind of stuff, you might see what I'm talking about coming. But let's start with this because the contract information on Christian Benford just came out. yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, right? It could have been the day before, but I'm pretty sure I just saw this yesterday. So 4 years.
Whammy weenies? Yes, please, whammy weenies.
Oh, Tommy, stop.
What is that?
Stop. It's like a noisemaker. It's a real old school noisemaker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
A whammy
Yeah.
weenie.
He sent me this pretty funny gif. It's like, yeah, instead of red helmets, we get freaking whammy
weenies? I'm about to look this up.
Yeah. So Christian Benford's deal, $69 million base value, 18.85 million guaranteed at signing. His base salary this year is only like two and some change.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a well done job in terms of how you structured the contract. I know you don't like it because of what it does to the cap space, but
No.
So you do like the contract?
Oh. Can I rant now?
Sure, please.
Okay, so I alluded to this on the last show, and there was some pushback, if you will. Can we acknowledge the fact this was a good contract? Can we acknowledge that? Can we acknowledge that being in Christian Benford was fair for one side, and it was okay for the other?
Yeah.
So let me just backtrack, because I think I must have been misconstrued. I don't rejoice in the fact that the Bills overpay players. I don't rejoice.
I know where this is going.
In the fact that I want to set the market. But the point is, and this is the rant that I had. The point is, what does a market setting player do? What does it mean to a team? It means they're a blue chipper. It means they're a cornerstone. It means that they're regarded in the league as elite. That's what I'm getting at. I'm tired of the team friendly deals. Everybody, because this we'll talk about this later, and I'm gonna kill it. It's gonna be over with. But when you talk about James Cook, what did Bean say? We tried to get something. I talked to my good friend who's his agent. Couldn't get anything done. I moved on to these other 4 guys. I knew I could sign right away. What does that say about your logic? What does it say about your acumen? What does it say about your talent at really signing guys that are tough? To me, it tells me that, you know what, I don't have time to quarrel with this guy. Yep. Because this guy, he knows his worth, or he knows what he wants, and he's not backing down. Let me go with the guys that I can talk to.
Right.
So I ran some numbers, and it might not mean anything to anybody, but it meant something to me. It spoke to me, honestly. I was looking at McDermott and Bean's draft picks. We'll say McDermott's draft picks because Bean wasn't here in 2017. But what I found, what I wanted to see was what was the revere for the guys coming out of high school that they drafted. Now I went through I'm not going to go through everyone, but did you not guess how many 5-star recruits out of high school we have on this team or had on this team since 2017?
Since 2017?
Yeah, 5-star high school recruits going into college.
2.
You want to guess who they are?
Well, I know James Cook is 1.
Nope.
James Cook is not 1?
Nope.
5-star recruits. 5-star recruits. Okay.
One I know you're not going to get for sure.
5-star recruit. Greg Rousseau?
Nope.
Wow. 5-star recruit in high school.
Anybody at home?
Yeah.
And Roy, no, this is not going to be Bean bashing, because honestly, this is not coming at Bean. This is actually, it's a 360 kind of effect. So it's not just Bean. It's just the state of the culture of the team is what I'm getting at. And it's not even a bash session.
Okay. Who are the guys?
Ed Oliver.
I was going to say him.
Justin Shorter.
What?
Ed Oliver and Justin Shorter. Those are only 2 5-star recruits this team has had since 2017's draft class.
Shorter doesn't. Well, I guess Shorter kind of makes sense. I mean, he went to Florida, and you could see the physical traits to a degree. The speed just wasn't there, but I could see him having the traits coming out of high school. I could see that. Ed Oliver is the only top 10 pick that we've had here besides Josh Allen, or I'm sorry, the only top 10 pick that we still have here besides Josh Allen.
Yeah. Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, in total, we've had 2 5-star recruits. We've had 34 3-star recruits, which is average. You know, those guys go to, a step above UB, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And we've had 13 4-star recruits.
So they like the 4-star guys.
They love the 3-star guys. They happen to point for it. But see, I mean, it's not a 100%, science to it. But the point is, when you look at these, where they recruit from, when they go on their draft visits, when they bring guys in, where they get these guys that they can sign a team friendly deals. These guys are if you're a 3-star recruit, you're an underdog. Josh Allen was a 3-star recruit. These guys, Russo was probably the only one that we re-signed fairly easily. So I mean, the thing is, when you build this culture of they're decent, they're all right, but they were always decent, all right. They were always trying to prove themselves. They didn't come out of high school thinking their ish don't stink. So you think you're telling me right now that McDermott and Bean don't know that these guys are those kind of players? Yeah, of course they do.
Well, real quick, Roy says, and I want you to respond to this. Roy says 5-star recruit out of high school. I don't get the point. That has nothing to do with college production.
No, it doesn't. The point is, when you're a 5-star recruit, everybody wants you. Everybody toots your horn. Everybody loves you. You can go out down any street in your city, or in your, if you're in a big city, Miami, James Cook can walk down any street when he was in high school, and he's on all the news networks. Yeah. They knew he was one of those guys that sat at the table with his family and put his hat on. The rest of these guys are not. These guys are guys that sat in class with you and me and did their homework because nobody was giving them handouts. These guys are the guys that always fought for everything that they got. Nothing was handed to them. Yeah. So when you present somebody who signed with you and is loyal to you and gives you, the best they got with a lesser than deal. I don't think I talked about it on the show, but I texted to you what Ben Solak said. Mm-hmm. He said the Russo deal, insane. He said that was a steal. He said he was on the market for he was supposed to be looking at 22 to 25. That's what the market was. Yep. 13 and a half. Who else we got? Khalil Shakir. He said that was ridiculous. That's why he gave the Bills a A+. Why he gave them the best offseason. Not because of the guys they signed, it's the guys they re-signed, but all the guys that re-signed to cap-friendly deals. Yeah. So the point of getting an A+ is the fact that Being, he sweet talked to him, he convinced him to stay, which is fine. Mm-hmm. Of course we want to have them. Those are guys that we want to have on our team. But the point is, when you get somebody like a Cook, somebody that has been somewhere, that has other options, because people seem to they have a misconstrued. James Cook screwed himself. How? He doesn't come to Buffalo. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was just to add to your point. I mean, I think a prime example of why these guys are now taking team friendly deals with the Bills is look at what happened to Levi Wallace. I mean, he eventually got to the point where they let him go somewhere else. You didn't hear his name at all. Mm-hmm. People, like when he first got to the Steelers, people were thinking they got this great corner from this winning team in the Buffalo Bills. Now they're going to be all right. Mm-hmm. He lost his job like almost halfway through the season.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And then you look at Dane Jackson. Dane Jackson went to Carolina and did what? And I know those guys are kind of two different guys in a sense. Levi was a starter for years. Dane Jackson really only got a few games every season. But all of that is to say, these are not, as you stated already, these are not household names. These are not guys who were dogs coming out of high school. These were guys who were, they weren't the top choice. Mm-hmm. They had to fight and scrap and battle for their position on the team. And so when you know what, I don't want to, can I just add something to this real quick? Sure. I don't want to kidnap your entire point, but I think what I think the root issue of this belief system in the Buffalo Bills, or where I think it comes from, is this, right? So there's this meme that I found, and it says the NFL literally has to change the rules for Josh Allen every year, right? And
I'll send that to you.
Yeah. So the first picture says Josh Allen doesn't get the ball in overtime. The reaction is NFL changes the playoff overtime rules, so both teams get to possess the ball. Second picture is Josh Allen gets ruled short on 4th down, and the reaction is NFL changes the method for measuring first downs. So when I first saw this, I'm like, the Bills fan in me is like, damn right, they did us wrong. You know what I'm saying? But then I had to check that. I had to think about that, because in reality, that reaction is wrong. And I'm not saying it's wrong to react like a fan, but I'm saying it's wrong to take a hard stance as a fan. Mm-hmm. Because when you're so set in my team can do no wrong, you miss all the mistakes that they make, and you as a fan end up paying for it in the long run. Think about what's going to happen if we eventually get to the point where this team does not make a Super Bowl at all and Josh Allen retires. How are we going to feel then? Are we going to feel like all this, quote, winning was worth it? No, not at all. But this mindset of we have to see ourselves, the fan, as the victim. We have to, the team is this underdog, us against all these big cities. Like Green Bay has never had that mentality. They got Lombardis like crazy. They win games too. They've been in the playoffs every year for the last several years too, right? The only difference between us and them is they act like they've been there before. We don't. Every year we go in is underdog Bills. Oh, they're underestimating us, and we like it that way.
Yeah.
Why?
It's like, I think Calhoun hit it best. It's the culture. It's the system, rather. It's just what it is. And there's nothing wrong with the culture. But the thing is, like you said, if that's the kind of fan that you are, good. Because guess what? We're going to be high-fiving at the stadium together.
No doubt.
We're going to be talking about the Bills together. We're going to be talking about the wins and losses together. That doesn't make us less of a fan because we don't cheer for the same reasons. But the point of my stance is don't misquote me and say that I want to just blow money mindlessly. Anybody that watches the show knows for a fact I'm not that guy. And Tommy said, I think Diggs' extension was paid handsomely. You're right. And what did it do to the contract? What did it do to the salary cap when they decided they couldn't handle him? It screwed them. You're right. They didn't have to sign him to Jack. But of course, when you hand me money, I'm going to take it.
Right.
And that's what he did. They handed him money. He took it. And then he left. And the thing is, when you look at scroll up something for me. I think somebody else says something.
Yep.
Okay.
More?
No, it should be good right there. Bean has done good with it. Oh yeah, Bean, yes, Tommy. Yeah, and that's what I'm good. That's what I'm getting at. He's done good with extensions, but the thing is, they recruit and retain guys that they know they won't have a hard time retaining.
Right.
See, when it comes to guys, Cook is yes, Tommy. Me and you, we talk all the time about Cook versus Singletary. I'm just joking with you, obviously, but what happens when we get another situation like this? Are we gonna have to say bye-bye again because he has a hard stance? Why doesn't he have a right to have a hard stance?
Right. So I want to respond to this one real quick. Tommy says some players don't always think the extra salary is worth it when they're in a good situation. So here's the deal when it comes to NFL players. Okay. And I think all of us need to accept this to some degree, whether it be the rah-rah fan or the critical thinking fan, whichever side you're on, like to some degree, we have to accept this reality. Players are in the NFL because they want to be able to do something they love for large sums of money.
Yep.
Okay. It's not, them going and playing football for free, because if that's the case, they wouldn't even bother going to the NFL. They would just go play football everywhere.
And the value of each player wouldn't go up every year.
Exactly. So with that in mind, we need to understand that every single Bills player that signed an extension this year was told by their agent at some point what their value was on the open market.
And I can double down on that. You know what they said to him before the agent did that?
What?
Get something done with Buffalo. I don't just get it done with Buffalo.
Yeah.
Khalil Shakir said that. Rousseau said that. Bernard said that. And it's on record. They said it. Get something done with Buffalo. Not get me the best value. I want to stay here.
Exactly. And the reason for that is these agents know before they even get to the last year of the contract what the value is going to be for their player. Mm-hmm. They also have an idea for what teams are going to be interested in getting these guys and what that role is going to look like on their team. These agents know. So by the time these players get to the last year of their contract and they're in a situation to start thinking about this contract, they already have that information. So it's very easy for a player to hear from his agent, like, look, get what you can from the Bills, because wherever else you go, you're not going to have this kind of role. You're not going to have this kind of trust. You're not going to have this kind of, snap share in whatever team you go to. It's not going to be as high as the Bills here. Right. It's easy for a player at that point to say, hey, I want to stay with the Bills. Right. I want to be here. This is what I want to do. Like, really think about that, because Von Miller was all set to go to Dallas until the Bills came in with the bag, and bam, where did he end up? Right. That's a prime example of what we're talking about right now. So it is about money. I understand the perception of this situation is better. They would want to stay, but what that is, it's a logical perspective that should make sense based on what we've seen naturally happen around us as a fan, right? We go to work, right? And there might be another job that is great culturally, but they don't pay the best, right? Like I've worked for a nonprofit before. The culture is great. There's aspects of a nonprofit that are wonderful to be a part of, but they don't pay the best.
Right.
And at some point, you get to a spot like I was, where I have 3 children and a wife. I have to take care of them. And I have to do that better every year, because my mortgage and all that's going to keep going up. So it's a part of life. It's a part of reality. Players want to make money.
Yeah.
And if they can't do it the way they want to do it here, like James Cook is a running back. Right now, we know the movement that's happening with all these running backs. They are talking to each other. They are fighting to get back to where they were in terms of fiscal prominence in the league and respect in terms of their roles on a team and how they're utilized. They've been demoralized to a degree, especially with what happened with Le'Veon Bell. So now they're positioning themselves to fight back against that. And James Cook is a part of that movement. So so 15 million is not it's not a being greedy. It's more of a statement of, look at what I've done.
It's 4% of the salary cap, basically.
Exactly.
It's 4%.
Exactly. And that is what we have to land on at the end of the day. Like we're talking about giving this guy 4% of the salary cap, and you got players that don't even do half of what he does, making way more than that.
But they block better. That's all people have. That's all they have. That's
all Sean and Bean have. That's all they have.
And they said it, and I'm sure they said that.
Yeah.
This is what's fair to us, because this is what we like from you. This is what we need Ray Davis and Ty Johnson to do. Okay, but to be fair, if you have faith in Brady, why did his snap share, why did his numbers go up with Brady? Because Brady likes him. Brady said, I want you to do this thing. I need you in my offense. So when you're in office negotiating with this guy without talking to Brady, I'm pretty sure, what do you think? Oh yeah, this is why we won't pay you that, because we need this kind of person. What does Brady need? And I'll get into that a little later. But I mean, it's a hierarchy situation. We're gonna talk about your thumbnail. That'll bleed into it.
All right, cool. No Bone says the good situation helps them hit their incentives. No, well, okay. Let's look at James Cook specifically.
No, let's look at Rousseau specifically. I want to do that. That one's better. Here's why.
Well, the real quick, the reason I'm bringing up James Cook, and we'll get to Rousseau after that. I actually have their salaries pulled up, so you can.
It's a very easy one. Go ahead. You ain't got to pull nothing up.
So James Cook's situation, 2022 and 2023. 2022 in particular, he had 1,000 yards, but he only had 2 rushing touchdowns. Right, year before that, he only had 2 rushing touchdowns. He had much less yardage. Then he only had 500 some yards rushing
his first year.
Yeah,
like almost 6. Yeah,
it was something like that. Right. Neither one of those years did he hit the incentive that he hit in his 3rd year. Right. So he was there for 2 years with that same incentive in his contract. Didn't hit it until his 2nd to last year. Now, if you pay attention to what happens with all of these draft picks that end up getting second contracts, the only person that hasn't done this so far is Christian Benford. And Christian Benford may be the exception to the rule, so to speak, but look at Ed Oliver. Had a great season in his 2nd to last year, going into the last year of his contract. Greg Rousseau, 2nd in the league in terms of pressures going into the last year of his contract. You look at James Cook, 16 touchdowns going into the last year. Like, all these players have big booming years. AJ Epinesa, last year of his contract, he gets 6 sacks. Like, it's not a mistake that these guys get the opportunities towards the end of their contract when the Bills are in the best position to leverage them. Right? This guy is either going to do extremely well and we are going to look great for paying him, or he's not and we'll look great for getting rid of him. It's a strategy.
Yeah. And the only reason I said bring up Rousseau is because if you're talking about incentives, Incentives, yeah. I mean, the situation does help them get their incentives, but the overarching point here is the big number, the incentives included, are not up to snuff of what they could get outside of Buffalo. And that's why I said Rousseau, because you said Rousseau signed for what, 19 million and 13 guaranteed or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if he signed the same contract structure for what he was his market value was, we'll say 24 million, that takes his base salary to about 17 million, and then your incentive. So maybe his incentives will be harder, but your base salary is a lot higher. You know, let's not do the semantics of Josh Allen's mediocre $5 million. What's $5 million? I put that in my gas tank. What? Whoa, hold on. What kind of gas? What are you driving on? Uranium? Anyway, you know, but the thing is like, you know, sometimes these guys, they come from places. You know, what Tre'Davious White, he got 17 million and called it generational wealth.
Yeah.
17 million meant the world to him. You know, so when he set the market for that 2 days or 3 days, whatever it was, literally, not even joking, he was over the moon.
Right.
Yeah, I think Jalen Ramsey or something like that that somebody topped. I forget who it was that year, but
yeah, I think it might have been Jalen.
I believe it was
with the Rams, right?
Yeah, I believe it was, and it was like $3 million more or something like that. But you know, the point is, to some guys, Greg Rousseau, he retired his mom. She was a nurse forever during COVID. You're never working again, Mom. Guess what? That $4 million, I could put that in your pocket. I could put that in my little brother's pocket that's going to UB now because he's got an NIL deal, but it's not, you know, not millions of dollars. So it's like, okay, we're sitting here doing semantics over this stuff, and for the most part, I'm always on the front office side because I'm cheap, contrary to popular belief, obviously. But
no,
but you know, in this regard, if a player and an agent says, you know what, you can get 13 million from Buffalo, or I can get you 18 million from New Orleans. Of course, the situation sucks. They don't have anything. I'm going to be by myself. And I'm not from New Orleans. Holman might like it because he's from the area. But, you know, the point is, I want to stay in Buffalo.
Right.
And they built the culture, and that's fine. This, like I said, this is not a bad session. It's just a think about it. Think about what if Josh Allen said, no, I want the 400 mil. Damn, you're 330. What if Rousseau said, no, I want 25 mil. Damn, you're 19. I want, you know, what if Khalil Shakir said, I'm your number one receiver until otherwise noted. Give me 22 mil. I know I'm not going to always be your number one, but I'm a number two. Give that. Where would our salary cap be? And that's kind of what I'm getting at, you know. And it's just the fact that we've been blessed to have guys that are willing to work with our front office.
Yeah. Jay Calhoun says, when it comes to contracts, I'd rather have 3 cars than 1 Porsche.
Nah, ask Charles Barkley what Dr. J said. Dr. J said, he told Charles Barkley to read. I think Charles Barkley said he had like 6 cars. And Dr. J was like, why you got 6 cars? He's like, because I wanted them. He's like, how many cars can you drive at one time? 1. So just get you one nice car. Just get you one nice car. You know, I mean, you can have them and say, I got them, but you can't use them all. And that's like saying, you know.
Well, what if I wanted to drive a different one every day?
You could.
Like,
you could. That's what Charles Barkley said. But the point is, it was just a joke. It had nothing to do with what we're doing.
I know.
Yeah, no, I mean, because in regards to what Jay said, no, Jay's right. I'd rather have 3 as well. But the thing is, what happens when the well runs dry? You don't have those guys that want to be here. What happens when the guys say, you know what? The hell with the team deal. Josh Allen's 35 years old. Who's our quarterback next? What they say about 7 years ago? Who's the quarterback though?
Yeah.
And that's the question they got to ask. So this is practice. You don't just close your eyes and stomp off when somebody, you know, posts on Instagram and says, you know, I want 15 million. You don't, because nobody else does that. You can handle it however you want to handle it. You can say, we're not dealing with you. You're out of here after this year. I don't care. Me personally, I don't care. And James Cook's my guy. But the point is, when we get that I think somebody in the last show said T. Higgins. They mentioned T. Higgins. Will we have done it for him? You know they wouldn't have.
No, not at all.
And that's my point. What if we had T. Higgins for 4 years? Is it a tease? I want to retain that.
Yeah. So the reason I put up that comment in particular, Jeremy White was talking about this.
I missed it, but
yesterday and today, right? And it's I'm just gonna say it's almost like he's been watching us for a while now, and we started to bleed into his system.
Hey, Jeremy, if you're watching, holla at me, man. I don't want nothing from you. Just want to holla at you.
Right. Let's just be friends, man. but yeah. So the way that he described it, he was talking about players you fear. Right. And he's at the point where he's tired of having just one player that another team fears that they have to scheme and game plan for and lose sleep over.
I'll be dang.
Right. And I think that's kind of what we're talking about when it comes to having the Porsche versus the three nice cars. You know what I'm saying? Like in terms of contracts, you want that one guy that resets the market, because that means that's a guy that the other team is scared to death to play. You know what I'm saying? And I to be honest, you could find one of those guys every single year.
Yeah, it ain't gotta be Cook. Like that's just what we're talking about right now. But see, the thing, like you said, well, to your point, I'm so tired. And I've said it over and over and over again. I don't hate Josh, but I'm so tired of hearing about Josh can do no wrong. He does everything. Why does he have to?
Yeah.
Why is this guy got to do everything in his power to make a team win a football game and still take less money than he's owed?
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing people don't get. Like, it's like, oh, Josh is the man. Yeah, he's the man. But what are we doing for him? If you're not gonna force him to take max salary, get him some weapons. And obviously, James Cook was one of the weapons. That's why I'm talking about it so much. Not just because he did a couple cool things, but why are we diminishing the guy now? Because guess what? Everybody was singing his praises when I was in that stadium and he busting out those 45, 50-yarders. People shaking me like, that's your boy. That's my guy. Loving him. Jimbo this, Jimbo that. And now this Instagram post comes out. Now he's a pariah. Why? Why do we turn so quickly? He's 24, 25. What did you do at 20? See, I sit and watch. Yeah, full disclosure, big dude. I watched 90 Day Fiance. I watched Married at First Sight. And I sit there like, yo, why does that bother you? But I'm like, wait a minute. He's 25. He's 26, 30. When I was that age, was I like that? Probably.
Yeah. But
see, that's the thing. Why do we have no tolerance for somebody that did nothing? I got somebody as far as I'll go as far as to say there was an article I read. It got me hot. Matter of fact, it was about you know what? Never mind. We got to go to your thumbnail because I think this bleeds into it.
Okay. All right, we can do that. So, all right. When it comes to this move that the Buffalo Bills the Bills look like they're gonna make, did you see? You guys talk. You and Mac talked about it in the text thread. The trade that Dallas made for Joe Milton, right? I was talking to a couple of people about this actually. There were some reports that the Dallas Cowboys were in talks with the Browns to trade Dak Prescott to the Browns so that they could move up to 2 and select Shedeur. Right?
Dallas?
Yeah. And okay. the idea was they get Shedeur, they sit him for a year behind, whatever veteran quarterback they want to play and, put in there Cooper Rush or whoever, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. And then Dion comes in the following year and coaches his son after he's had some time to acclimate to the NFL level. And now they come in together and they just blow Dallas up to, an even bigger dollar number, right? Value, like the team worth, right? Now, once I saw this trade for Joe Milton, that kind of eats up that idea that Dallas is going to trade up. They don't need to anymore. They have their quarterback of the future, and they let Trey Lance go, who ended up going to the Chargers. So when you look at the teams that are high enough to be in a position to get a top tier player that the Bills would need, like a Will Johnson, Dallas was one of them. Right now, the thing with Dallas is they also need a running back. Rico Dowdle's not there anymore, right? They don't have a running back right now. So everybody has been, mocking all, whatever the top running back is right now, because there's people saying it's a couple of different people, but the idea would be the Bills trade up to 12 using Cook, a first round pick swap, a second round pick, and probably one of their fourths to go from 30 straight to 12, right? Or, and this is something that the Bills have done before when they traded for Josh Allen, they could trade up into, 2019, somewhere around there.
A double trade, yeah.
And then trade up again to get to either 12 or maybe even a little bit higher, like maybe 10 or 9 or something like that, to select their guy. Right now, there's two corners that I strongly believe the Bills would benefit from going after in the first round, and there's only two. If they select anybody else other than these two, I think that guy is not going to do great here, and that is Trey Amos and Will Johnson. Those are the only two corners that I can see coming here in the first round and being worth a first round pick at all. Right? Hairston, good traits, but I don't like his instincts.
He doesn't have any. He's a workout warrior, and for Harrison, who was really talking about before the combine,
right?
I mean, he breaks on balls. He has good, he's got good awareness, but breaks on balls.
Pause.
Breaks balls.
Pause.
Anyway,
keep saying it.
Make it work for yourself, bro.
I'll say it in different languages too.
Pause.
Anyway, no, he's the kind of guy that will give you a good play, but he doesn't like to tackle. He's very slender, so he's not going to ever be able to play man.
Yeah,
press man, really.
Yeah.
He does have the instincts to play man, but he can't press against bigger wide receivers. He's going to fall apart. He was a mid second before the combine, so I don't listen to the noise. Somebody's going to overdraft him.
Right. So that's the move that I believe is coming. Now, when you look at the salary cap situation, the Bills realistically they can't do anything else until they get rid of either Cook's contract or Milano's contract. They have $3 million in cap space, right? Usually it takes anywhere between what, 4 and 7 million to sign all your draft picks. And that's if you have 7.
Yeah.
Right?
4 to 5, I say, yeah.
Okay, so 4 to 5 million, which means that's more than what the Bills have in cap space right now, right? So the Bills have what, 10 draft picks?
Yep.
They're gonna have to get rid of some. They're not gonna be able to sign every last one of those dudes like right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, never mind cutting them to get under the cap or whatever the case may be. They have to be under the cap. I forget when that date is. They have to be under by. But anyway, all of this is to say,
you're talking about top 53.
Yeah.
It's after the last preseason game.
Okay, right. So that gives them a little bit of space then, I guess, if they signed all these guys and then they cut some of them. So I was thinking it was before preseason that they had to do that. Anyway, when you look at where the Bills are and you look at what the Bills have been saying all offseason long, which is we need playmakers, we need blue chippers. Look, the only guy that has come here that has had any semblance of what they've been talking about is Bosa. That's the only guy, right? And he's not the same guy. I think somebody in the chat said a little bit earlier, talking about where is it? Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so Jay Calhoun says that Fine Miller contract was a bad contract that reminds me of Mario Williams.
Oh, wait a minute.
Two totally different people.
Wait a minute.
Right, yeah. Mario Williams came here in his prime. Miller was not in his prime at all.
He knew it too.
Yeah, exactly.
He had that triangle on the back of his head though.
Listen,
that was a prime.
Because it pointed to his brain. It pointed to his brain, which is telling you, I'm smart. I took the bag. That's it. So yeah. So this idea that they need to get a blue chipper, they need to get a playmaker. This is a move that does that, and it does that in a cap controlled way, where they've got this player for 5 years that's going to come in and be an impact player, and they're not going to have to touch this guy's contract for the entirety of the time, right? So I've heard some people say today too, I think the Bills are going to trade out. They're going to trade back. I can't, with what's at stake, I can't see them doing that. And if they do that, it's a bad sign. I can see them doing it. I can see them trading back a little because they want that 3rd round draft pick. They want that 3rd round draft pick. If they do that, I'm boycotting. No, you can't boycott. We gotta do the draft show. I'm boycotting. Okay, I'll be here with y'all by myself. It's gonna be the first show y'all see with 40 Keys by himself. I am not gonna talk about a trade. Listen, because I'll be here. If I do this live draft and we get to 30, bro. Yo, we sitting here all day. Yeah, right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If we sitting here till almost midnight or however long it takes. The first round? Yeah, the first
it's
round
like,
pick.
it's like
10 minutes a pick, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's about
Oh
8
my
o'clock
God,
to
man.
11. Oh, we in there.
Yeah.
We locked and loaded. They asked for it. The people wanted it. And we're going to give it to them. We're going to give it to them.
Yeah. So
here for
if I
centuries.
get to 11 o'clock at night and I hear ding 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 ding,
Like,
the Buffalo Bills have traded back with the New England Patriots or some other BS move, I swear
the
to
Buffalo
everybody.
Bills are traded back to 31.
Yo.
Like, again?
No, I'm saying if they trade out of the first round.
No, because who's 31?
Right.
If
Right.
they do this
I didn't even think about that. You right. Yeah. I think everybody would be pissed. Okay. All right. You know what? Chat. Tell me how you feel right now. If the Bills made another draft day trade with the Chiefs, how would you feel right now? Would you love it or would you hate it? It don't matter who the player is. Would you love it or would you hate it?
If I see anybody in the chat typing crash out, I would agree with you.
You can crash out?
You would crash out? Yeah.
Because dude, like
Billy D, what's really good?
Yep.
Code 45 in hand for the draft.
Yeah.
I got to find one.
Find an empty one just to sit on the desk.
Oh, it won't be empty. I ain't got to work. It won't be empty.
Marcus says, what's going on, Marcus? He says, I like Cook, but do you give 15 mil to a running back who only plays 50% of the snaps?
Let me roll back to you, Marcus. Why is it only 50% of the snaps? And can you say why it is without the word blocking in your rationale?
No.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. See, the thing is, what other team do you know is not going to try to evaluate this guy? Tommy, I know you're still here, and I know, Tommy. So just go get you some lemonade for this part of the show. The point of this is they keep it 50 because they have a price in mind for James Cook. They don't want him to have 16 touchdowns. They don't want him to have back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing with Josh Allen. They gave this man Josh Allen. They gave this man Steph Diggs at one point in time. They gave this man Dalton Kincaid, Keon Coleman. They gave him Ray Davis. They gave him a running back by committee. 16 touchdowns. He showed you can run. What did they say last year? He can't run inside the red zone. What did he do last year? How many goal line rushes did he get for touchdowns? How many broken tackles did he have last year? I mean, the thing is, if you say he can't do it and give him a chance to do it, I bet he'll do it. I bet he'll do it. So, I mean, and this is not coming at your point. The point is, they gave him the 50%. He wasn't hurt. He didn't fumble. When he fumbled, they put him out of the game. That didn't happen last year. He was your second best player on this whole team.
Yep. But if they don't care about that, then to them it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
And I think that's the problem here is that they get so invested and involved in their mentality. They get so involved into their, game plan and their culture, all of these philosophical things that dictate the real moves that they make. And I'll put it like this. That's like saying I'm training for a fight, right? And I go into this training thinking all I have to do is jab, right cross, roundhouse kick, right? If I can do jab, right cross, roundhouse kick, that's going to work throughout the whole fight. I don't need to do nothing else. Based on the tape that I saw, that's what's going to work, right? Mm-hmm. What does Mike Tyson always say? You always got to play until you get punched in the face. So now we in the fight. I get punched in my face, and the whole fight, this dude's been kicking me in my knee. So now my roundhouse ain't hitting like it's supposed to. I feel like I can barely get the leg up and snap it like I'm supposed to. So now my game plan is shot. So now what?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And because that was my only philosophy, because that's the only thing I ever practiced, because I believe so strongly in that one way to win, I end up losing the fight. And that's kind of the point. The Bills have gone into every season with, we believe that we can win this one way. What typically happens? Well, the same thing that happens every year that happened last year. You get to about week 4 or 5, you realize what you tried to do at the beginning of the season ain't working, so you switch all of it. You did that with Dorsey the year before when you fired him halfway through the season. You did something similar when you changed your offensive scheme 5-6 games into the season and made a trade for a wide receiver. Why do we need to get to those points in the season of people thinking you might actually be worse than you thought?
Yeah.
before you make a change that usually ends up working, right? They started throwing the ball down the field more. Guess what? That worked.
Mm-hmm. And that's why Keon Coleman didn't, like he said.
Right. This West Coast underneath stuff, efficiency football. How's that working for Kincaid as a first round pick?
It's not.
This is what he's here for.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing, though. And I'm we're gonna talk about the draft for a little bit later on, but there's a lot of these comments. Finish your point, but there's a lot of these comments. Remember this general area in case it keeps scrolling.
All right.
I liked Sankey Chandler. I still feel like Groot should have been paid. That's my point. The point is, I'm glad he got his money. They didn't fleece him per se. But they sat there and said,
"Nah, they kind of fleeced him. 13.5 million.
Okay, fine, they did. But I was trying for Tommy not to come from my neck on this one because I got more later. But no, I mean, what they did with Russo, they probably said, we like what you do, but you haven't given us a 10 sack season yet. You're number 2 in rushes, but we really can't. We can't work with this skill set
because the hard numbers that dictates the big money is sacks, not pressures.
Not pressures. So this is what we're gonna do for you because we love you." We're not going to let you walk out this door without taking this 13.5.
Right.
It's guaranteed. Trust me. You can take it to the bank right now if you sign. Okay, cool. And that's how it worked. Cook was like, man, I talked to Saquon. I talked to Derek. They said I'm worth more than this. I might not get 15, but I know I'm not going to take this 9.
Right. He's doing what you're supposed to do in a negotiation is you start high and they start low. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's how it always goes. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Nothing wrong with that. Rico, what's going on, bro? What's good, baby? Man, listen. Yeah, but I mean the idea, like, it's not egregious. Mm-hmm. It's not egregious that he started off at 15 million. Mm-hmm. You start off at 15 hoping for 12.
Right.
Could we live with 12? Yeah. The Bills couldn't, though, because of the point that Marcus is talking about. He's only playing 50% of the snaps. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a philosophical thing. The idea that Cook was not even on the field for the last play of the game against the Chiefs tells you exactly how the Bills feel about playmakers.
Yeah.
So for them to come out in their postseason, their end of season press conference and say we need playmakers, you didn't respect the one you had.
Right. The last 2.
Right. So why are we supposed to believe that you value them now?
And the thing that really gets me on this one is you couple it with I think it was No Bones. Cook is kind of leaning to hold up to 300 plus touches. Guess what? 1,000 yards, 16 touchdowns on a lot less than 300. He's doing what you need with a lot of tread left on the tire.
You see Rico say, we got you, bro. We got you.
I got you, man.
No doubt.
Got you.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, we go collab on that one. We go collab on that one for sure. No, and I think that point is necessary. Sankey, Marcus, what I said, and No Bones.
Do you want to go back up?
No Bones. I mean, he just said Cook's kind of lean for 300 plus touches. We don't need him to have that.
Yeah, I mean, look, 200 is good for him because he's only getting what, a little over 100 right now. What did he get last year?
Just under 2, I believe.
Just under 2,
just around 2, yeah.
So two is good. 2 is good, but look at what he did with.
That's 2. What I'm saying. And look at all the tread left on the tire. They say that the average running back falls apart at 2,000 carries. How long is it going to take to get 2,000 carries at this clip?
Well, he was part-time in college too, so that adds to his tread.
Part-time in college. He never played more than 55% in his college career. Also, if you look at what Cook did, he's one of 52 performances, not 52 players, 52 performances. Somebody earlier said, "Would Cook get 16 touchdowns on any other team?" How many guys do in the history of the NFL?
Right.
52 guys. Jim Brown was 3 of them.
He led the league last year. Like, what do you want him to do?
Jim Brown 3 times. Earl Campbell's on here. Sean Alexander's on here 4 times. I mean, so that eats up a number right there. He's one of elite number. 16 is not. You see what's the guy? What's first swag Koskogie's name? Jamal Williams, right? Or first swag, from Detroit, went to New Orleans. The runner.
Yeah, Jamal Williams.
Yeah, yep. He had 18, but they were all within like 3 yards from the goal line. Cook's done it from everywhere. And you got to factor in what that does for Josh. Everybody says Josh Allen does everything for everybody, but guess what? The offensive line does something for Josh Allen. James Cook does something for Josh Allen, and then imagine if you give him a wide receiver. Imagine if you let him do what Dalton Kincaid does best.
The Rams game and the Lions game show you exactly what happens when it looks like Josh has help. When Josh has weapons out there that can make plays against a defense, and he doesn't have to do it himself, that's what it looks like. And that's what it realistically, this is not outlandish to think. Realistically, this is that offense, those points that they scored in both of those games, that's what it should look like if Josh Allen had just two real blue chip 5-star level players on that offense consistently who are getting paid, who are going to be here for the long run and are going to be Josh's weapons game in and game out. That's what it should look like, because if he's got two real blue chippers and the depth, I'll say, that they have on offense, all the receivers that they have that are pretty darn good, the tight end room that they have, which is pretty darn good, the offensive line depth that they have really good depth on offense. So if you add two playmakers to that offense aside from Josh, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to put up 40 every single game.
And that's what this offense is. With Brady, with what we've seen Brady do at Louisiana State. LSU for you guys at home. I don't know why I said Louisiana State, but anyway, I thought it's like when Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan say basketball as opposed to playing ball.
Right.
You got to shoot the basketball. It's like it just sounds more astute. So I had to do that. But no, when you're talking about a guy that he can go out there and run the ball, and you got guys that can scheme up the offense like Brady did at Louisiana LSU. Imagine what Josh Allen could do with speed. Imagine what Josh Allen could do with more. Imagine what would happen if we had a decent defense at all times. We'd have a Lombardi by now, and I shut the hell up.
Yeah. Rico said, "Are y'all being Captain Saber
Nope.
cooks?"
Nope.
No, not at
not
all.
Just actually, no. Believe it or not.
Yeah, you were for a hot minute.
No, I was using Cook because that's what keeps coming up, but it was bigger than Cook. This conversation is bigger than Cook.
Right.
Yeah, it's just he's the low hanging fruit, and I think. I might have misread your thumbnail, but yeah, I think when you're talking about, let's just take Cook's name out of this for now. I found an article and it blew my mind. It obviously was about James Cook selling his house.
Yeah. That's what the thumbnail's about.
Okay, good.
So basically saying, once a player puts up their house, like it's really over.
But is it though?
Well, yeah.
What did Jordan Poyer do?
Huh?
What did Jordan Poyer do?
Well, Jordan Poyer he was at a much different point in his career.
Right. I mean, James Cook he's still under contract for another year, so it's different. But he still belongs to the Bills for now. We'll say
contractually, yes, but
they can do what they want with it.
Yeah, but again, you don't take a play on. It's what makes this tough is they kind of did this with Kyer Elam, but Kyer Elam didn't have anywhere near the value that James Cook has right now. So with a player like James Cook, you don't take a guy like that into the last year of his contract and just lose him for nothing. That's not smart football decision making. So for Brandon Beane to do something like that, it might really put some heat on him, and I think everybody should put some heat on him if he just lets James Cook play out the last year of his contract and let him go. I don't care if he's a running back or not. You should always have a mindset to give value for all of your assets, no matter what.
I'll double down. If they don't Rico, I did it, but I ain't put it up for sale. I just forgot to pay it a couple times and they took it from me. But no, I'm joking. I don't have a house or anything like that. So, but no, when it comes to James Cook, stuff like that, you're talking about a player that if you let him play anything in the season, even 2-3 games, 15 is no longer in conversation. It's going to go up to 17, 18, 19. And now you've lost him.
Point. Yeah.
He's done.
Exactly.
So he's definitely going. And now if you don't get anything done with him before the first game of the year, it's not going to happen. So
yep.
I think you need let me know if you heard something about this. The article goes on to say that the Bills are all about handling business in-house, and Cook is doing the complete opposite. He's making it public and applying pressure to the front office. He's making enemies out of friends. Where? I haven't heard anybody say anything. Yeah. No. I haven't heard anybody say boo.
Right.
It's just drumming up BS and people that really don't pay attention. I went to his Instagram page. I said, what did he put? What did he do? I went to his Twitter. Yeah. What did he do? I don't follow him. What did he do?
Realistically, what players would say and I've talked to a lot of them. What players would say is, "Go get your money, big dog."
Mhm.
Like they don't think about another guy's contractual dispute with the team as something negative.
Right.
Every last player in the NFL is vying for their brother
Mhm.
to get his bag. Right. They understand the dynamic, which is owners want a successful team without having to overspend, I guess,
Sure.
Conceptually, they don't want to overspend. And players want to get as much money as they can while they're still healthy and while they have a chance.
Mhm.
It's like, I'll just put it this way. When you're in a career that has everything to do with your physical status, you have to take advantage of every healthy second you have.
Mhm.
Right. And so the mindset becomes, how can I maximize every single year of my peak physical shape so that I'm set for the rest of my life, especially when you're in the NFL making that kind of money. Every athlete is thinking that way. So it's never going to be a situation where a guy just, I'll just relax this year. I'll just take it easy. Like that doesn't happen. Like no player is going to be like, that guy's contractual dispute is hurting the team.
Right.
Nobody's going to say that.
Yeah, I think Rico said the real question is, how do you deal with a player that could come into the camp resentful? Okay, so there's two parts to that. What do they always preach at this place? One Bills driver preaches big culture. We're friends. We love each other. Just that and third. So if he's resentful, I'm not saying I'm going to do this, but in my mind, if this is true, if this isn't just lip service, we're going to embrace this guy. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna stand behind this guy. Not do the Rudy thing and put our jerseys on McDermott's desk. They paid it, man. Not that, but they're supposedly friends behind, and I'm putting as much on this side as people put on the side that he's a pariah now. So I think if he came to camp resentful, but he played, if he did the things that if he came to camp angry and said, I'm gonna make a point and I'm getting the hell out of here after giving you guys 20 touchdowns and make my 25 mil be the highest pay, bet. What they say, he's got a chip on his shoulder. But do they really know what that means when people say that? Do they know what it really means to have a chip on your shoulder? I'm angry. You ever seen that guy that's so locked in, so dialed in it, like, he might be the nice dude, but when he plays, if you bump him wrong, he ready to fight? That's the edge that you need to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's the edge that we need 10 people on this team to have. We don't. This is always, I love you this, I love you that, which is cool. But what does it amount to?
Anybody wonder why Mac Hollins didn't re-sign here?
I don't, but I know why.
Why? You tell me why.
Well, okay. I don't know why. Actually, I don't know why. I just know the money part. That's all I know.
Right.
Yeah. 1.5 mil.
Yeah, exactly. And the idea of who Mac Hollins is and what he brings to the team, all of it was of value when he was here.
Yep.
Right. I initially didn't like the idea of him having as prominent of a role, but when we started to see where Keon Coleman was in his development, we had to understand, like, they're just trying to get what they can to make things work and score points.
Put Hollins back out there. Let's see what he got.
Right. We got to get somebody out there winning, and he was the one that was winning the most consistently out of all of our wide receivers. Now, part of that is scheme. I think we have to acknowledge that. Part of that is scheme. When you're throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage as much as the Bills did, there's something wrong with the scheme itself. Like, teams don't just do that unless they have a million Xavier Worthies or 14 Tyreek Hills or 17 Devon A-Chains. Like, you don't do that much, right? And frankly, I mean, to be perfectly honest, Miami runs a lot of that stuff with all the reverses and the double reverses, all the motions and everything. That's their game. And the Bills have kind of adopted a passing version of that in a sense, right? What has Miami ever won that made the Bills want to do anything near that?
We've been better than them as long as I can, not as long as I can remember, but
right. So efficiency wise, I get it, but again, 5-6 games into the season, you changed your scheme because you realized that couldn't be the foundation of your offense. You couldn't rely on just that, right? I want to get to this comment really quick from. So you mentioned this on Monday.
We talked about last time. Yep.
Right now it's just rumors. In terms of a trade for what Olave is gonna demand. The Bills can't pay that and do anything in the draft. On top of that, they don't have the cap space to re-sign Olave. In which case, I think he's going into year 4 of his rookie contract, so he has one more.
Sounds right.
If I'm not mistaken, he has one more year left after this coming 2025 season. Addison was a 2nd round pick, right?
Yep.
All right. So Addison should be going into year 3 for him, but I think he's done well enough in Minnesota where they're not looking to move away from him. To be perfectly honest, I think he's been a very good number 2 receiver for Justin Jefferson there. And him in pretty much every quarterback he's played with, he's had pretty good rapport. So I don't see them backing off of him. Unless the Bills came with some, amazing kind of a trade, but I don't think Addison's that kind of, leading wide receiver room type of wide receiver. So yeah, I think all of that is just rumors.
Let's see. So
you see something?
Yeah. It was Tommy. Tommy says these players who do stuff like unfollow the team and they play for and do cryptic messages have to understand that there will be a backlash and talk. Okay, look, let me ask you this. And this is not just directed at Tommy, but let me ask you this. Have you ever seen any of this on Channel 7? Channel 4? You ever seen a billboard when you're driving down to 33? Guess what you have to do to get this information? You have to follow them. And when you follow people on Instagram, it's not idolatry, but you made a conscious decision that you want to be invested in their life.
Yep.
You can't do that. You can't play 2 masters when it comes to sports.
Yeah.
If I don't see any, and you guys know I'm probably one of the biggest James Cook fans there are. I don't follow him. I work in a place where there's a lot of celebrities and stuff and I don't want to meet them because my perception of them from what they do is what I want to know him for. I don't want to know what he had for dinner. I don't want to know where, what kind of car. I don't want to know where he is now. I don't read his tweets. I don't care. Right. For this very reason, because I'm not going to get invested in his life. He can do all the cryptic ish he wants to do, but guess what? I'm not going to know about it because I don't care. I don't care about your personal life. You can delete everything. Stephon Diggs did it. He wipes this stuff every year. We know this. And guess what? He came and he still gave us 1,200 yards.
Yep. That's
all I care about. Give me that. I don't care if you hate Josh. I don't care if you hate McDermott. I don't care if you hate me. I ain't nothing but a fan. He could say, hey, you, shut the F up to me. And guess what? If it was on the other side of the coin, I respect it as a Patriots player now. The shoes on the other foot.
Yeah.
I don't care about. I don't. That's between Cook and Bean. Bean's talking about, we don't negotiate in public. It's not public. This ain't public knowledge unless people are following people.
Right.
Social media is a hell of a drug.
The Bills are a public entity, and any public entity would be very concerned with perception. I heard this talked about on the morning show today, and I thought this was a very good point when they talked about the Bills trying to control the narrative. That's something that we've been talking about for years now, right? And namely 2 years on this particular show, we've texted a lot about it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this perception on James Cook, look at what the Bills have done this entire time. What have they said about James Cook? Brandon Beane doesn't mince words.
Right.
He chooses his words very carefully. I gave everybody a prime example of him choosing his words carefully in a press conference with which he stopped himself and went back and changed the words that he was about to use to a different phrasing of the same thought process that gives a different perception from based on the inference of what he was saying. So all of that is what all that means is for Brandon Beane to say, we have had talks with James Cook that haven't amounted to anything, or however he phrased that, basically saying we've talked to James Cook and that hasn't gone anywhere, so we've moved on to say it like that. If I was to tell you, I tried having a talk with this coworker that I work with to squash the beef, and we couldn't get anywhere, so I moved on from them. Does that paint a good picture in your mind of how that conversation went? No, but let me tell you how those conversations usually go. Right, the agent will call and talk to the GM. And the communication will be something to the degree of, I've had a conversation with James, and James is really just looking to maximize what what his income is going to be for for the upcoming seasons. He wants to be a part of the team. He wants to be a part of the organization. He loves Buffalo. Let's try to get something done, right? And Brandon Beane could be saying the same thing. They could be saying, we love James Cook. We really want him to be here. We have an idea in mind of what his value is. We'd like to be able to come to the table and have a more detailed discussion about how this contract could look. But as of right now, if we can't get past this first barrier, I don't know where that leaves us right now. Both sides of that conversation sound like they're very empathetic to each other's situation. It's not a bad thing, right? And that's usually how the conversations go. Nobody's trying to disrespect one another in those conversations. They have to work together, because what happens if they do end up getting past that barrier? They don't want to have sour feelings towards each other, right? But when you as a GM come out in representation of your team and you say, we've had conversations with James Cook, that didn't get anywhere, so we've moved on. Well, that definitely puts a negative connotation on how things actually went. That's the problem. When you look at the way the Buffalo Bills have spun information on a consistent basis, they've lied. We've caught them in lies. How in the world? I mean, we just brought up another one in today's episode. Like, if you're talking about playmakers and how important they are, but you're not willing to go to the table and talk to James Cook about $12 million. Right. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah. And the thing about that too, you think about what I mean, this sounds ridiculous, but he's 25. What if his brother said 20 million? That's what his brother kept saying, right? What if James was like, nah, just give me 15? Right. I mean, obviously that's probably not what he meant, but are we really taking the nightcap seriously, where he's talking where he's talking on his phone to Shay and Ocho? Are we really taking Instagram seriously? Like I said earlier, 25. What did you do? Imagine, Tommy. Imagine what I know you was hell when you was well. I know when you were 25. We won't talk about it on the show, but I know. All right, don't deny it. I know.
Yeah. Tommy says the fact that Beane had contract discussions with Cook shows you he values him, because he hasn't done that for a running back since becoming GM.
Well, he did it with your boy.
Yeah, I'm confused at that one. You know what I think it is, Tommy. I don't think Tommy really respects the running back position anymore, because the league has kind of disrespected him, and I understand the logic behind the league's perspective on that. If it's easier for me to get that guy in later rounds and have him come in and be productive in a scheme, and really any scheme, he going in. He said 1 year don't count.
He talked to him. They had a contract discussion. I'll give you this. No, we want this. Fine, we'll give you something in the middle.
Right. Talking is talking.
Oh, here we go. We moving the goalpost now. All right, fine, Tommy, you got it. Okay, he got a contract. James Cook got nothing. So who wins now? Singletary got money. Cook got nothing right now. Who won?
Right. Where is Singletary right now?
I don't know.
Getting beat out for playing time by Tyrone Tracy.
Is he in New York still?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But that's kind of the point, though, isn't it? Like we talking about James Cook demanding $15 million. We don't even know where Singletary is right now. No disrespect to anybody who likes Singletary. I'm just to me, that is the difference between the two guys. I mean, we've never seen Singletary come in and have 16 touchdowns. Like nowhere near that. The biggest run that we know Singletary for is what, the Denver game.
Yeah,
and it took him forever to score that touchdown. Like, people were in shock. Like, how has nobody caught him yet? Watching him run that ball.
Did that guy to fall down and get up and still? All right, Tommy, I'm done with you, man. Coming back. I'm glad you asked that question. What's the current rate?
We love you, Tommy. We love you
for sure. Tommy, you already know. But what's the current rate? Enrico just called his name, so we love him too. Earlier on. No, but who was I going to? Oh, coming back. Yeah, what's the current rate if they were to tag Cook at the end of the season? You want to know? Do you really want to know?
Say it.
13-6.
Why you can't just give him that now, man? Like, okay, no. So here's a prime example of this, right? We're fretting over 15 million. Do we know what Greg Rousseau's like his actual base salary is going to be this season?
I can look and see if I can find it.
It's 2.37 million.
Wait, Rousseau or Benford?
Rousseau.
Okay.
It's 2.37 million, right? For Greg Rousseau, right? He's got a cap hit of 5.8 million, right? That's his cap hit for 2025. In 2026, you know what his base salary is? 4.9 million. 4.9. Like his guaranteed, his cap hit is going to be 11.8 million. That's going to be his cap hit. So this exactly that's the point. That's the point. We're freaking out about 15 million. Why? Because the Bills are making us do it.
Right.
The Bills are saying that number is way too high. Well, 20 million is the average per year for Greg Rousseau right now. Right? But what did they do? They made sure to put out there 13.5 guaranteed per season.
Yeah. Yep.
They won't talk about that with James Cook's contract.
Because Cook is he's more so 9.5 guaranteed. That's what 15 mil gets you, about 9.5, 10 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
That's it. Of course, I can't open my wallet and give it to him, but that's it. So no, Tommy, I'm not gonna put him in a gold jacket. I'm going to put him in a Bills jacket for the next 4 years. The $15 million, Tommy.
The point here is so back to Greg Rousseau, when you look at the cap hit, he doesn't start getting into the 20s until 2027. So 2 years from now, his cap hit goes up to $23 million, right? This has nothing to do with loving James Cook or hating James Cook. What this has to do with is the perception that gets painted on players that demand any kind of money in Buffalo. Right? If you go in and you stay just a guy in Buffalo, but you perform well enough to be considered one of the better players on the team, they'll give you the bag because the culture dictates that you stay obedient, that you stay quiet, and you never come out of pocket or place when it comes to your public perception. Right? Players that do that. Christian Benford, Greg Rousseau. Who else got paid? Terrell Bernard. Those are prime examples of that. Those are the three factors that they judge the players with that get the bag. Trey White was another one of them. Micah Hyde got the bag. He wasn't even drafted here. He got the bag. He was quiet. He never did anything. He was quiet. Never bucked authority. Never made comments about coaching or game plans or schemes or anything like that. Got the bag. One of the most beloved players in NFL history, in Buffalo Bills history, I should say. Right? Here we have James Cook. They getting him out of here. Who was another guy like that? Marshawn Lynch. Kicked him out the door. I'm not saying it's okay to bump people with your car or nothing like that, but come on.
It was just a nudge.
Like, seriously, we got friggin' Von Miller getting domestic abuse calls and stuff like that. And I get that, whatever happens behind the scenes, I don't have all the details, but the bottom line is Marshawn Lynch bumped a lady on a club scene where where there was a lot of walking traffic, something that could have easily been settled in a civil case. And they allowed him to be vilified for that.
Solomon.
I am. You know why I'm burning on this? Because I've seen. It's not just the Bills that I've seen do this. It's companies that I've worked for. I've seen do this to people. Not me, but I've seen them do this to other people, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of. And this is not an agenda specifically against the Bills, but more so against the idea that people are supposed to sit by quietly and allow specific individuals to be singled out and attacked that don't need to be for something that is more based on public perception than anything else.
Yeah. I mean, well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Cook could get the money and be perfectly fine. He could get the perception of 12 million, and it's not actually 12 million. Just like the first 2 years of Greg Rousseau's contract, supposed to be 20 million, but it's not actually 20 million.
Yeah. I mean, I doubled down with the whole selling of the house thing. He's not going now. So the notion of he sold his house with everything included for a reason. We don't know what that reason was. Maybe he doesn't have a good. Maybe he's like, the housing market it's gonna crash next year. Maybe that's what he's saying. I'm not gonna be. I got to get rid of my house now. You know, maybe he's saying they might get rid of me. I don't know. I don't want to hold on to this thing.
Yeah.
He might have had some kind of other. We don't know what the agreement was, but we know who is the stalker that know. How do you find out he's selling his house?
Well, it has to get posted.
It has to get, but does it say this is James Cook's house? So you have to know where he lives.
That's true.
You got to know.
True.
Somebody has to know what it looks like. Somebody has to know James Cook first and foremost.
Well,
that's how deep this gets.
Yeah, the deed owner gets posted though with the posting, like in the state registry.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But you got to know who the owner is, even though it's public record. It's known.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is, if you look up the registry, like if you're in real estate, there's listings of every house in a specific area. And it tells you who the owner on the house is.
No,
right?
no. What I'm saying is there's levels to this, because one, you're not just gonna be on Zillow like, oh, let's see what $2 million homes are. All right, cool. Oh, wait, this
is this James Cook?
Wait, let me go look at the record. Why is it? But see, the thing that gets me is, why is everything included in the house and he's not going yet? That's I gotta move now. I gotta go like right now.
No. You talking about with all the stuff that's still on the walls and all that?
They said everything's included. The jerseys, everything in the house is included in the house. It's as is. That's what they said.
Yeah, I mean, like staging does that too. Like
right. But usually when you have personal stuff like game balls and stuff like that, that's a little above and beyond.
Because he said game balls.
Yeah.
This dude,
he about to get the Dookie Juice Award.
He is about to get it. We have to bring out retirement for this kid.
We haven't gave anybody the Dookie Juice Award in a long time.
But yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. Like when you're talking about these things, like it's levels to the investment. This is like The Fan with Wesley Snipes and De Niro.
Yeah,
you have to really do some sleuthing to know. Oh snap, James Cook, and then to know he didn't have an open house. It happened a day after the guy made a statement, and they know it's in the house. They know what's coming with how. I mean, come on.
I didn't even know he said everything is included. That's an even bigger deal. Like if I'm leaving everything, I'm just gone. I know I'm gone.
Right.
I'm not going to be here for training camp. Why am I giving up my personal possessions in the house with like that? What that really says is I don't want no memories of this place. I'm not taking nothing from here. When I go somewhere else, I'm starting fresh. That's what that means.
Mm-hmm.
That's sad. That's sad.
Roy, CJ Spiller got Marshawn Lynch traded.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the first round pick too, wasn't he?
Yeah. It was Marshawn. It was Fred Jackson. It was CJ Spiller, and everybody had these ideas of grandeur for Spiller. So yeah, ratings on the wall.
Yep. Nate, what's going on, man? He says, how many other NFL players name their number publicly while still on their rookie contract? If I went into my job on Monday and named a number that I feel I'm worth, my CEO would laugh in my face. Well, that depends. That depends on your position. Like when you're, and I get what you're saying. I get the premise of the statement, right? But we have to consider all of the variables that matter, right? And the difference between the two situations is James Cook is an independent contractor.
Yep.
Basically.
Yep.
And as an independent contractor, he has the right to negotiate his rate.
He's gonna. Know it. We accept it. I mean, let's put it in perspective here. You want to know how outlandish this can go? And Nate, this isn't because of you, but what did Caleb Williams say? You guys know it. He's gonna be the first player to sign $1 billion contract. Caleb Williams. First off his draft day introduction.
If Ben Johnson does what he's supposed to do, he might see it too.
He might, but the thing is, to the point, we're talking about 15 million versus what is that? I don't know, 100 million. I think he said 110 million a year. That's what he thought he was going to make. 110 million a year.
That's crazy.
As a rookie that didn't do jack on the Bears. Now you think you're gonna be a billionaire? I don't even say what I'm thinking in my head right now. Child, please. That's all I'm gonna say. Child, please.
All right, so I got a question I want to ask you.
I want to answer your question
if you don't have anything else.
I have other stuff, but it's not pressing. We'll talk about it's the draft stuff.
All right, so I want to ask you this question, and then we'll get to all the stuff.
But yeah, I mean it's not a lot, but yeah, go ahead.
Yes, we got a little bit of time. All right, so what do you think is the biggest impact position on the Bills defense when you think about the scheme that they play? when you think about the style of defense that they play, what is the position that you look at and you say, man, if we had a blue chipper in that position, it would just change the entire defense. It would solidify everything. Like in the way that Josh Allen kind of just solidifies everything for the offense.
This is going to be very unpopular. I've said it before, though. For me, I think the defense is built around safety play. I really do. The reason why I say that is because, and that we'll get into my draft talk, but if you look at how we rush, if you look at how we scheme the cornerbacks we have Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer masking a lot of stuff in front of them that we saw exposed last year. Because Rasul Douglas night and day from what we had before to when we had nothing last year. Sorry, Hamlin, I don't mean to disrespect you, or Taylor Rapp or Cole Biz. Don't want to disrespect any guys, but it's night and day.
Yeah.
So for me, I think, with McDermott's expertise as a safety in his own right, at least the secondary is the most important thing on this defense, I believe.
I like the point. So let me ask you this. We've seen now a change from the traditional free safety, strong safety build that they've had over the years to now more of a split safety, both guys being kind of hybrids in a sense. Excuse me. Now I understand why conceptually you would make a change like that. You want to be a little bit more diverse. You don't want teams being able to single out a safety or put a safety in conflict or whatever. You want to be versatile on defense. That's the reason you go split like that, right? But what aside, you know what? Let me ask it this way: what are the how can I ask this question?
Any way you want, brother.
Well, thank you. Now I'm going to. What are some other benefits that people might not know about when it comes to playing split safeties like that and hybrid guys? And then kind of also talk about what you think are some cons to that, and just in terms of some downturns that could happen from having two guys that are hybrid.
Yeah, I mean, you look at cons. I'll do that first. It's kind of telegraphing what you're going to do. Nobody respected Hamlin as a deep safety. Nobody respected Rapp as a deep safety, but they respected the hell out of Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer if they decided to shift it into the mid. That's why the defense, when we had them, could make pre-snap motions and stuff like that. They could hide a lot of stuff because after the snap, Hyde drops back into single, and we don't have the athleticism back there to do that kind of thing. If you look at the defensive fronts that we put in this organization every year, they're not athletic. They're not bendy. They're not, I'm going to get to the quarterback in 2.7 seconds. They're guys that push the pocket, control the area in front of them, and that's it. If it's a coverage sack, it's a coverage sack. And then we always get sacks, but we don't have a dominant guy making the play. But I think in terms of having a split safety, you kind of know where they're going to be. That's telling me that they have a deficiency at cornerback, because you have a bracket. It's a built-in bracket. Your left corner, your left safety, your right safety, free safeties, strong safety in the old world are always going to be watching out for the cornerback in front of them. Unless you're playing some kind of exotic zone or something like that. But I think when you're talking about the pros of having a split safety, you're looking at a situation where you can interchange them. So you don't have to have 4 safeties per se dress every day. You can have 3 because if Bishop goes down, now we can put Hamlin in, or we can put Forrest in, or we can put whatever the lineup is at the time. But you don't have to, you don't have to say, I got to carry this space and get rid of a wide receiver or an offensive lineman or something else.
Yeah. Excuse me. I think when you look at what the Bills used to do a lot of, it's usually a lot of cover 2, cover 3. They liked it to throw a robber in there every now and then. You know what I'm saying? In that cover 3, but when you look at what works best with split safeties, I mean, Tampa 2 still kind of fits in there in a sense, but now you're talking about cover 4 and man with 2 high. You know what I'm saying? And the guys that they have in the safety room right now, to be perfectly honest, they would never be able to come up on a run play anytime I'm playing, any kind of man coverage at all. Like, and what scares me about that is, as you said, like it makes you predictable on defense. Yeah, like I know those safeties aren't going to cheat up. I'm going to be able to run the ball.
Right.
Now, having Joey Bosa and Mike Hoyt and some of some of these guys that they signed on defense, it helps because Joey Bosa is a great run defender.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's going to be the same pass rusher he always was. I don't even think he's been that the last 3 years. Right. And the last 3 years have been like some of the healthiest of his career for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So we have to see the role he's going to be in, and B, what that looks like with him being, playing next to the other guys. Right. So we can't just flat out say like, that's not he's not going to be as great. We don't know. We got to see it. But when you look at the idea of two hybrid safeties always being deep, and what that creates for your front seven, who, let's be honest, past the defensive line, they're not built to stop the run. I mean, realistically, the defensive line hasn't even been built to stop the run.
It's weird. It's so weird.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's been the fundamental foundation of what Sean has tried to do in terms of stopping the run. He's tried to use the front four to cover 5 linemen and get the runner.
Yeah, strange.
Right. And we're not even talking about a tight end getting in there and chipping. We're not even talking about a fullback like Patrick Ricard, who's 300 pounds running and busting a hole open.
Pause.
He was sitting back in his chair.
He was ready.
And I see,
He was so ready.
Pause.
This is how he was. He was like this. And as soon as I said what I said, he was like,
not because I was waiting for it.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I
No,
was.
we were watching. He was like, "This is you." He was like, "Pause." You heard? They heard this. Just what they heard.
Right. Because I was getting ready to say it.
Yeah, all right. And DJ 37.
Man, watch out. Watch out. Hold on. Type out. You're not going to tell me what it's not. All right.
Yo, Junie has mastered his 40 keys impression, bro. He has mastered that thing. I love it.
And DJ 37 didn't want to take it. Lifelong, put the top, put that up there. Where your cursor is, move it to the right. Just like.
Oh my gosh. Wait, what?
Put your cursor to the right.
There,
boom, hit that. There you go. There you go.
Oh, DJ, thank you, man.
Now, before you get too far in the wheel, I'm gonna tell you, we're objective. Some things we say you're not gonna like, but we will listen to your opinions. Trust me, they'll tell you. A lot of people in here like, yo, these guys have lost their mind, but they will listen.
Your opinion do not matter.
No. So Nate said this is a rare off-season.
I was gonna take that too. Yeah, actually, you're right, but not, because this is gonna be normal now. So this is we started today. His birthday was last Friday. I had to do some things the previous Fridays, but we're back. We're back.
Yeah, like all last off season, we were doing Mondays and Fridays too. That's what we usually do. But obviously, if something comes up, we put out a notification. We can't do it this Friday. Blah, blah, blah.
We love y'all. We couldn't stay. And 1 week was too. That wasn't right. It
felt so
it
wrong.
Was yucky.
We get to Monday and we felt like it's been too long. It felt like I don't know.
Like, man, gross. What did we miss? Everything was like all news was old news. It was like,
and then we do the show, and then all the other good news comes out on a Tuesday.
Everybody else gets to talk about it. We're like sitting here waiting. I know.
Like the Christian Benford deal came out on a Tuesday. Right, exactly. I was saying, like, so do I just go live and piss off Keys because he's at work, or do I don't know. What am I supposed to do? What do I do? Oh my gosh. So I wanted to get to where is it? Okay, this one. Wait, no, not that one.
Hey, Laura.
What's up, Laura? The first one was this one. Laura says, I think we need some objectivity. You can't say we're only denying Cook because
his mouth. Yep.
Yeah, because of his mouth. True. There could be many other reasons.
Yep.
And I'm taking that comment and I'm like shotgun blasting it at everybody that's been coming at Cook, because we don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? We have some educated guesses. I haven't gotten to anybody close to Cook yet, so I don't have any inside information yet.
Mm-hmm.
But from all of the indicators and all the things that I've seen happen with players and this team, look, it really comes down to, if you want to pay somebody, you pay somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bottom line. This is not the drought team anymore, where we have an owner that's talking about, Toronto money as a drop in the bucket.
Right.
This is not, and no disrespect to Ralph Wilson, but let's
Toronto,
be real.
For sure.
We had an owner like that for the Sabres, and Tom Golisano.
Yes.
You know what I mean? These guys who just don't want to spend the money. Cincinnati's going through that. Even though they just paid their receivers, Trey Hendrickson has been trying to get a new deal there for 3 years and can't get it.
Very disappointing, you said.
Right? So all this is to say, this is a different day and age. It's supposed to be. We got an owner that said, well, if I'm not in this for the money, if I need more money, I just go drill another well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, well, if that's the case, then why aren't we paying this guy?
Right.
This is a guy that realistically, without the play that he made in the AFC Championship game, we're not down by 1 score. We're down by 2.
Right.
Right, with him diving over 2 dudes to score a touchdown, reach out. Right, exactly, on 4th down. So look, that's a Josh Allen-esque play.
Mm-hmm.
What more do you? I didn't see any receivers doing that. I didn't see any tight ends doing that.
I barely saw Mari Cooper play.
right. So I mean, look.
I like Billy D's comment right there. Cause ain't that the truth? His math is a little off, but I know what he did.
No, forget that. Play 8-3-5. Just take the flag every play. Take the flag every play.
With your boy on there, with Watson out there, I'm
putting 16 players on the field.
With Watson out there, he's 4 by himself. He's 464.
Good.
Do it. How many guys under that jersey? Just one. Yeah, come here.
Is that those don't look like shoulder pads? They look like helmets. Right. I know, dog. I know.
Dog. Hey, Desmond, come here. Look up your shirt. It's me, baby.
It's all me.
It's all me.
Like, whoa.
Blocked out the sun there, brother. Put it down.
This is horrible. We're going way left now.
That's the only way I go.
Oh my God.
That's the only way I go.
So Solomon says, man, Rat be injuring his own players. I can't stand him. That's right. That's right. We got Benford was actually a victim of that. Benford was one of those players that got hit in one of his hits and ended up. Matter of fact, in the Chiefs game, he went out because of Rat.
Yeah.
Or was that Hamlin?
That was Hamlin.
Yeah, it's one of those. Both of them do it.
He did hurt. I think he hurt Douglas before this year, and then there was other guys last year. Yeah, he's put about 4 or 5 guys out.
Yep.
Like, what are you doing, man?
Friendly fire is crazy.
It's ridiculous. And they say Hamlin can't hit. Well, there you go.
Right. He can hit. His own players will tell you he can hit. Get away from that dude.
Never saw it coming.
Yeah. When I played football, I never wanted to be a lay the wood on a guy type of player.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
He was born in this country. He was born in this century. Don't worry about it. He's definitely this century. he ain't from what we were doing.
You know what I mean? But look, when you have a head coach like Sean McDermott, who loves the traditionalist style of play, he wants it. Like, Sean McDermott literally is trying to relive Rudy. Like, that's really that's what he wants his life to feel like Rudy right now. He wants to go into every game being the underdog, winning in the last few seconds of the game. Like that makes him extremely happy.
And we can hoist them up on our shoulders and celebrate and triumph. Yeah.
Exactly. And look, does that fit what the Buffalo Bills marketing team has pushed upon this city for years? Yeah. 100%, because we all feel like underdogs here, right? But what wins games? We love Josh. Why? Because he's so freaking dominant. You can't stop him, and we love that. Why can't we have more of those?
I like what Sankey said at the bottom there. He said, I feel like the players are cooked, our fan favorites. Johnson, Rapp, Jones, Matts are cooked. Haven't been the same in 3 years. They need to be replaced. But the love for Johnson is out of this world. I mean, I see. The thing is, those are the kind of players where you have them, but then you draft guys to usurp them. You draft
guys.
Talking
about Taron Johnson?
I believe so.
Yeah.
You keep them on the team, but you draft guys at this point in the game to usurp them at some point within the next year or so.
Yeah.
As opposed to keep re-signing them and getting these old guys. And that's the point. You have to have older players on your team. Everybody's not going to be 22-year-old as an average age for a team, but
they got to be a quality player.
You got to be a quality player.
Taron Johnson is still one of the top cover guys in the league.
Yeah, Taron Johnson, Deion Dawkins.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of that, whatever. But it's just a simple fact that the love, like Sankey said, is out of this world. You're supposed to respect, and you should honor them for what they've done, especially in their prime, like Matt Milano's and people like that will take a pay cut. Yeah, you definitely on the team. But at the same time, just know Dorian Williams is right there. He's 24, 25, whatever he is. And we drafted him for a reason. No disrespect. We drafted you to usurp somebody that was here before you. And it's just a passing of the guard. Like on the Lion King where they lifted up the little baby. Just trying to lift them up.
So I like where this comment kind of goes. Walter says, I just struggle to envision things going so wrong that we're regretting paying Cook. Like that's also a great point too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, answer this, chat. How angry would we be that we paid James Cook $12 million? Let's just say he settles for $12 million, or let's say they give him 15 mil, but it's incentive laden,
mm-hmm.
right? And the base salary he's making is really 10. You know what I'm saying? It's $5 million in incentives every season, right? Mm-hmm. But every season he puts up 12 touchdowns rushing, right? He might put up another 2 to 5 receiving. You know, the only
reason he doesn't is if we have somebody like a Malik Neighbors or something like that explodes on the scene. That's and that's the thing. People, when and this is another thing I notice about Bills fans. It's always linear. It's always linear. Like I said, I was talking to my friend, and he was talking about how the Bass kick, or whatever it was. It was what was it last year? We lost in driving down the field, and whatever happened, the first down, whatever it was. I don't remember what his thing was. I was like, okay, so what about the Super Bowl against the Giants? If we would have made that kick, we would have made the kick. Like, it's the same thing. I'm like, no, it's not, because there was more time left on the clock after the Josh Allen's issue last year. But after the kick, if we would have made that kick, we won the game. Giants would have lost. That was it. They wouldn't have had the ball no more. So, when it comes to the Bills, everything's in a vacuum in the sense that Stephon Diggs fell off a cliff. But the question is, why?
Yep.
Not because he dropped the ball in the Chiefs game, because he had almost 1,200 yards that season.
Yep.
He had the why. Just because somebody else stepped up. Shakir started to do stuff, and when James Cook, if he doesn't get 16, no, he's not a busted $15 million if he doesn't get 6. I don't expect him to, but something else should happen.
Right.
We should get to the Super Bowl on the strength of something else happened. The core is built. James Cook, Deion Dawkins, Josh Allen, Khalil Shakir. That's your core on offense. But now we got to add to it, because we're not trying to have everybody just get exponentially better. We're trying to make it so our unit as a whole is solidified. Our offense. We're going to bring in other tools in this toolbox, not just expect everybody to go ham every night. Josh Allen should not. We shouldn't be having a conversation at 30 years old where Josh Allen is, he puts the world on his shoulders No, you shouldn't love that. You shouldn't love that. I mean, it's fun to watch, but we're Bills fans, not Josh Allen fans. Yeah, we like Josh Allen, but the point is, we're not the nation. We don't tune into the Bills just to watch what Josh Allen does. We tune into the Bills to watch the Bills. And so when I got to sit on my couch and watch my hometown team because of one player, and the coaches will tell you, well, as long as we got 17, no, you failed. If you're the one that puts the people in position to get the jobs, and you say we got this one guy, you keep marketing this one guy, you failed, because what'd you put around him?
Yep.
You lead them to get unalived, I guess. YouTube,
Is that's a real thing now?
I think so.
You can't say that word.
You're not supposed to say the word.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, we just weren't getting the views, so it didn't matter. It would just slide around the cracks. But
yeah,
we're doing well for ourselves.
It's our insensitivity that has killed us.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
No empathy whatsoever.
None.
Yeah. All right. I get it. Speaking of that, Roy says 464 pounds. Bet he has a serious case of man boobs. Like, Roy, the fact that you went straight to man boobs when you saw 464,
you're canceled. You're canceled. Pack your bags.
Look up Desmond Watson
and leave.
Look up Desmond Watson, Roy. You won't be.
Oh, don't look.
Can you do
it up on here? Yeah, I can look
it. Yeah.
Desmond Watson.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. No. Holy crap. Look at this dude.
Hit images. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Go to that one down there. And the most hilarious part is he wears number 21, which looks even fun. Yeah. That'll work.
What in the world?
That'll work.
That?
Can you see it? You can't see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Well, he sees it on our screen, so he's not seeing on the screen for everybody. Do you know how to do it? To put it on so everybody can see it?
Wait, can I? Oh, I'd have to copy it. Yeah, I got to copy it and bring it over. Which one you want to use?
Use this one over to the right. Go to the right.
This one? Oh my gosh.
Just the fact he's a college player. He's playing against a college player in that regard.
Let me see. Where can I put this?
What college is he from?
Florida.
Oh,
University of Florida.
That makes sense.
6'4", 464. Yes.
Yeah.
And everybody was clamoring over. What was that guy's name? Michael
Florida,
Jasper. Huh?
Isn't Florida like that one costume that just has like one of the best like players over there?
They're a powerhouse squad.
Because it's Florida. Was it Alabama, LSU, Clemson, and who else?
It depends year to year.
True.
You can
Do you
go.
see it?
No.
I don't see it.
Where'd you save it?
I thought I saved it in pictures. Unless it's.
Did you put a name under it?
No.
That's probably why.
Yeah. So
I'm bad at technology.
That's not. No, okay.
Let's not do that.
Let's not lie to the people at the last minute.
Right. I'm bad at technology.
There it is, right there. So I don't know.
Here?
Yeah, that's the one you.
All right. Let me see if I can just pull it up from there. Let's pull this into.
Man, let the people know what the people they're looking at.
But yeah, so while you're doing that, the thought I had about the draft, it kind of ties into this behemoth of a man too. But when you're looking at what has been said about the Bills and how the Bills operate, I had some numbers here. So Mike Green, forget it. Zaraku, forget it. Kyle Kennard, forget it.
Why are you saying forget it?
Because these are the bendy speed rushers, blah blah blah. If you look at what the Bills have done at defensive end, if you look at what they draft, they've only drafted 2 guys that are under 255 pounds at defensive end. You want to know who they are?
Yes.
Javon Solomon and Darryl Johnson. Those are the only 2 defensive ends they drafted under 255. Now, inversely, over 255, you're looking at Rousseau, Epinesa, Boogie Basham. Okay. Now, if you extrapolate that by who they've had on the team, you're looking at Rousseau, Basham, Epinesa, Toohill, Smoot, and I think Trent Murphy was under 250. But all these guys are the power rush guys. So for the people that think, hey, we go ahead and get yourself a speed guy to count. They don't want that. So I resign myself when you see me do my mock drafts. I resign myself to expecting Landon Jackson, Nick Scorton if they trade up, Shamar Stewart, which would be intriguing. Let's see, JT Tuamoloau. I don't know how to say it, but I know who he is. Jared Ivey, Ashton Gillott, and Jordan Burch. Now, Jordan Burch, I am excited about. I would like to have him in Buffalo as a 3rd round pick. But we have to trade up into the 3rd round to get it, or trade back into the 2nd to get the 3rd. Inversely, you know, if you look at your defensive tackles, I don't know. I think we're setting ourselves up for disappointment again. Because if you look at the way they operate, we've drafted 3 defensive tackles less than 310. Ed Oliver, Harrison Phillips, and Dwayne Carter. We've never drafted a defensive tackle that's over 310 pounds. Okay. And over 320 pounds, we've only had Jordan Phillips, Linval Joseph, Daquan Jones, Ricky Hatley, Marcel Darius, Vernon Butler, and Eli Anku. Those are the only defensive tackles we had over 320. And of those guys, only Jordan Phillips and Daquan Jones have played more than 52% of the snaps. Just 2 guys, 2 seasons, not even multiple seasons with these guys. So that tells me they have to do something else. The Bills like guys that can be versatile. Everybody that they get, a defensive end, he has to be able to kick inside. They call it reducing. Defensive tackles, they like guys that can play a 1 tech. Ed Oliver even wanted at 1 tech. They wanted Gable Stevenson at 3 tech. He's 275 pounds. The wrestler guy. So if you look at the rotation, you have to be able to rush the passer. So that gets rid of a lot of guys that you would think. So my names I'm looking at for the Bills to take in the draft: Jordan Phillips, not the one that you're used to with the big goose jacket. Nazir Stackhouse, CJ West, Jamari Caldwell, and Kenneth Grant. Derek Harmon, those people that love Derek Harmon, sorry, probably not going to happen. Why? Because when you look at Derek Harmon, what is he? He can't tackle. Now, everybody, you know, he's a sacker, he's good, but he had a 29.6% missed tackle rate last year. 29.6%. That's the highest I've ever seen. He's missing 20% of his tackles for his career. I mean, McDermott said numerous times, fundamentals are paramount, right? He's always talking about fundamentals. What's the most fundamental thing you can do as a defensive end, defensive lineman? Tackle. Can't do it. Like I said, Jordan Burch, for you guys that know Jordan Burch, what do you think? Do you guys like Jordan Burch? Are you guys interested in Jordan Burch? Are you guys interested in the thought of getting somebody of that caliber in the 3rd round? I'm starting to reshape the whole way I'm doing this draft. You know, the way I'm going into it, I'm thinking more so, do you see this picture here?
Which one?
Go this one right to the left.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, right there. Yep.
This one?
No, to the left, that one.
Oh, we gotta get
That's
that
the
one.
you gotta use.
All right. Let me see.
Yeah.
Save that there and pull that up there. All right, we should be able to get that in now.
Also, you know, when I'm thinking about the draft, I think Jim Manos let us know. He let us in on some things here. He said Bean and McDermott usually make the 1st and 2nd round draft picks, and then he usually leans on the scouts for the rest of the draft, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. So let me ask you, what rounds are the Bills usually hitting on? The later rounds, right?
Correct.
So if they're hitting on the later rounds, which Bean has said that he leans on the scouts, why not lean on your scouts? We also saw evident in the embedded last year. Yeah, the embedded of the war room. What do we see? Bean said, you know, McDermott said, we're going to go get Van Pran, right? Bean's like, nah, we going Davis. McDermott said he wanted Van Pran. Luckily, he got him, but he wanted Van Pran. Bean said, no. I'm going to get this guy. So who makes the call? Because on one hand, you got Joe Brady saying that he wants Xavier Worthy. I love Xavier Worthy. That's my guy. I can work with him. We're not doing that. Okay, cool. We'll give you Keon Coleman. That's completely the opposite of what I wanted, but I'll make it work.
Right.
But on top of that, now Sean McDermott overrules that. But then you got Bean overruling McDermott. Where is the collaborative thought here? I mean,
the collaborative thought is we're not going to let these 1st and 2nd round picks come in here and be superstars. That's the collaborative thought. Basically.
But that goes back to what I was talking about with Cook, you know, and James Cook been feeding his agent sodium. No, Columbus. But no, I mean that goes in where I was going with the James Cook talk without trying to talk solely about James Cook. It's a concept. Cook is a concept in this thought here.
Yes,
you know. We don't want to draft these guys in that top tier in a 1st and 2nd round that are going to get paid. we want to go ahead and stockpile the back end, the four, the third, fourth, fifth, sixth rounders, and go from there. Because we can probably talk to them and say, we took a chance on you, we liked you, and we would like you to stay with us. We developed you, and we put an investment in you. We can say that to you, because how many other teams do really wanted you? Of course, there's a lot of teams at that point, third, fourth, fifth, say, if you go to the 7th round, we'll take you. You go to the 6th round, we'll take you. You're undrafted, we'll take you. But those first rounders, there's a reason why the first and second round clocks are so long, because everybody's clamoring for how many of these trades do you see guys rushing to the podium to trade up and not take draft picks for the next year as well? These guys are sought after, and it doesn't bode well with the culture unless you find that guy. And that's a direct quote. They always say, that guy, we need that person, that special guy. I think they just need to change. They need to change things. And Kenneth Grant, I don't know. That's one thing I've seen him go in the second round. I actually saw him a mock where he was in the second round at this point. No, I don't think so either.
Spin did it again. Damn it. Spin, you did it again. You said we spending about 145 mil on offense and 95 mil on defense. Should be closer to 50-50 in the spending. No. Here's why. Do you know the last time that the Buffalo Bills had the number one defense? Do you know the last time the Bills had the number one defense? Do you remember what year that was?
No.
I will tell you. It was 2021. You know what happened in 2021?
What happened?
13 seconds. 13 seconds happened in 2021. That's the last time we had a number one defense. Forget all of this spending 50-50 and spread it even and all that kind of stuff. Get Josh what he needs. You've already seen that the defense can't do what they need to be able to do to win a game. Stop trying to worry about being even. All this philosophical bull crap that everybody is spitting out here, trying to make things seem even and fair for both sides. Screw all of that. I don't care what it takes. Get Josh weapons. Stop playing around with the damn money. If it's 145 million, I don't care if it's 300 million on offense. Get the man what he needs so that we can win games with offense.
Hey,
what do you think the Eagles did in the Super Bowl? The defense played great, but the offense had to score points. That's what allowed the defense to pin their ears back and go get the quarterback. Every single time the Bills' defenses look good this season or last season, why did it happen? Because we were up by 30. Why is this not making sense to anybody? Like, Spin has done the best job that anybody's done in almost a year of pushing me to this point where I have to really explode on the show.
Hey, Spin, you deserve a 15-minute timeout.
No, I knew it was coming because Spin's been too nice today.
What? It's nonsense. It is nonsense. Once we start getting into saying all these cute, beautiful things that the Bills like to say go into what builds a successful franchise, we've already lost. We've already lost. The second we start saying the same thing they say, we've already lost because it doesn't matter. None of it matters. You know why I can say it doesn't matter? Because we've been a great winning team. Matter of fact, Jeremy White was talking about the Bills have the best point differential over the last, Sean McDermott Sr., basically. It's something like 835 point differential, which is the best in the league. The next best team is at 500 something. You know who the next best team is? It's not even the Chiefs, it's the Ravens. Mm-hmm. The Chiefs have won 3 Super Bowls in that entire span that we've had this great point differential. We've been such a great winning team. What is it amounted to? What is it giving us? I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of it. I can't.
Listen, I'm gonna say this. Spin, you deserve a 15-minute timeout because you made the host of the show aggravated. So you deserve a 15-minute timeout. You are no longer to speak.
I said, damn, I'm good.
Yeah. even when he's not saying that, he's saying a lot.
Oh my gosh. I just
you created a monster. He almost crashed out and
almost. Almost.
That's what I said.
You take that word out. Just say it.
This is why
he did crash out. My bad.
Yeah. No, but realistically, this is why you and I take the time that we do to really study what goes on behind the scenes, to pay attention to the very specific things that are said in press conferences. it's more about gathering information and formulating opinions based on factual evidence and information than it is hearing what a team says and loving it because they wear the colors we like. I mean, at the end of the day, we scrutinize and second guess and side eye our own government, but the Buffalo Bills can do no wrong. I mean, if that's not ringing the bell for somebody right now, we second guess our own government, but we can't think critically about what the Buffalo Bills do with our money. Both entities are taking our money, whether we want to give it to them or not, right? I'm sure everybody is going to love seeing that new stadium. Is everybody going to be able to afford getting into it? No. But guess what? Their tax dollars are still getting taken to build that new stadium. Same thing with the government. Government's pouring taxes into welfare systems and all kind of stuff. We second guess all of that. We never think the government is telling the truth. We never think that. But everything the Buffalo Bills say is hand to God. We buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Why? This is the fundamental problem that I have an issue with when it comes to the rah-rah fan that thinks the Bills can do no wrong. If you can't get to a point where you're questioning what's going on at One Bills Drive, you can still like the team and love the team and want them to win. That should not stop you from wanting them to win. I want them to win. But when you get to the point where every single thing they do, you don't see an issue with it, none of it. So you mean to tell me there was never a player that you loved and wanted to stay on the team, but they left the team and you never asked why?
Right.
There was never a reason, like Jason Peters, prime example. He came in as a nobody. He wanted the bag. Bills didn't want to give him the bag. Why? Well, we don't think he's worth that. Based on what? He's been your best offensive lineman his entire career here. Why don't you want to give him the bag? Well, nobody else is making that kind of money. So your job is to copy everybody else?
You just made my point. You just made the point I was making, not today, but, on Friday or no, Monday. Why is it that we never set the market? Why is it that everybody prices out of Buffalo? Why is it that other teams are willing to pay what we're not? Why is it other teams are willing to do what it takes to get better, but we're not? Why is it? It's because fans, like you said, listen and say, you know what? Yes, we got 17. I'm not poo-pooing on 17. That's not my goal at all. My goal is to let you know that's not it. That's not enough. It's not enough. And a chance is not enough at this point in time. I'm tired of hearing we have a shot. We don't. It doesn't matter. If you don't have a realistic shot at getting a Super Bowl, or getting a trophy, not even getting to the Super Bowl, it doesn't matter. So I like you say all the time, you always talk about wasting Josh Allen. People say waste Josh Allen. It doesn't matter if you're not giving me the end result that we're desiring. The Bills are not going into the season trying to have fun. They are. I bet the players don't know that. The same way the Sabres they refused to acknowledge the fans when they were talking about fire at Granado. The Sabres staged a boycott.
Yep. Because
that was their boy. Against the fans, they stood up. But the Bills won't do that. The Bills, they're a culture. It's different. It's the way they built the team. And the way they built the team and the way they built the fan base is grooming. We'll be fine. We got a plan. You don't. Your plan is to tell me you got a plan.
Right.
When is it time to pay? When is it time to call the tab? It's almost the lights are almost on, man. Club's almost shut down.
Yep.
When is the tab going to be called? Now, unfortunately, I'm thirsty. Are you thirsty?
I'm very thirsty after that rant.
Yeah, you might be a little parched, but you know what'll fix that up?
What's that?
Reed's tea.
Oof.
One part refreshing. Oh yeah. When it's ice cold, delicious.
The best.
2 parts healthy. Junior, you over sniffling? You are. Anyway,
some tea to clear that right up.
Of course it was. So please, Key, elaborate on why we need Reed's tea. Go ahead, bro.
Oh man, we need Reed's tea because it's delicious, man. 2 parts of it delicious, healthy, gives you everything you need in one little bottle. 1 serving will get you right, baby. So I don't need drink tea, but I'll drink some Reed's. I'll tell you that right now. What you doing? Get over to Reed's right now. Don't even watch the end of the show. Just go to Reed's. Get yourself an individual or buy a case because once you get that individual, you're going to wish you had more. So you won't be disappointed. See for yourself. Reed's Tea. Click on the link in the description below. Reed's Tea. Let them know Dude sent you, or Post Podium Podcast sent you.
You got to take that out of there.
Yeah, I wouldn't. You know what's funny? I wasn't even looking at it.
For real?
I wasn't even looking at it.
Came out.
My man.
Yeah, that's right around the time we started doing the read anyway. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see. I think I got to turn this volume down just a little bit. Right about here. All right, here we go. All right, if you're hearing that music, that means it's time for us to jump out the window. We got to get out of this piece, and I got to get it going quick before Key gets fired. It feels good to say that. Feels good to say. I haven't said that in a long time. But look, if you've enjoyed what you watched, please like, please subscribe, please hit the bell, whatever thing button you thumb, whatever, just hit
that thing like a lane.
Just anyways, that allows you to get notifications when we send notifications. Like, look, we got every link that you need either at the bottom of this screen right now if you want to get a hold of us, get in touch with us, or if you just want to be part of the immediate family, right? That is our Post Podium Podcast family membership. Okay, if you want to get in on that, all the perks are on our they're on our YouTube channel. I'm sorry.
See how easy it is?
I know.
Yep.
I'm trying to make sure I don't forget anything. So anyway, go ahead and check that out. The links to our merch page, the links to everything that we have to offer, including the links to Hi Mike High Tech, which is our guy that I call every single time I'm having any kind of technical issue. My man is here right on the spot to fix the issue and get that thing done with the quickness. Okay, Hi Mike High Tech. Make sure you give him a call if you need a computer built, laptop built, if you need a PlayStation controller fixed, an Xbox controller rebuilt, all of that. He does it all. All right, hit him up. Reed's Tea, you've already heard about Reed's Tea. The merch page, you got to get there. If there's anything on the merch that you think should be on the merch page, let us know. If you like book bags, you want a book bag, if you want a purse, we can do all of that, right? It's just giving you more of what you want. That's what we're here for. So with that being said, we got to jump. This has been the Post Podium Podcast, home of the all truth, no sodium takes. I have been your co-host, Aramis.
For the keys.
And we are
a producer.
Oh,
there it is.
That's got to be a part of it now because he got his own camera. He gonna throw himself in there every time. I love it. All right, y'all have a great night. Friday night for the first time in a long time. Feels great.
Monday.
All right, y'all have a good one.